Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody? Welcome to another episode of Roll Around, Find Out. In today's episode, it's going to be maybe my favorite subject of late. A little Hodge Podge episode. A couple of random things I've been looking at. I want to go over and hopefully you can take something from them and take it to your table. First things first, even though nobody is following the storyline of this, but my after-school D&D club, we had 10 kids show up for my group. And per my one session, Valerian's trial, we kicked that off. And it was a hit. I forget exactly how many rooms there are. I want to say 15 to 20. And we just at the end of the session, some kids trickled out to rooms 3 and 4, which I think I said would take us about 6 different sessions. And they did not progress very far, and that's totally fine. However, it wasn't until maybe 10 minutes before I was kind of trying to think of a personality for Valerian, and I'm not sure if it was a comment here or a review, but somewhere somebody had said, yeah, I like to bring Valerian in. He shows up every now and then. Oh, here we go. Was a very bored, decadent old wizard who enjoyed to watch parties being challenged. So, in the new Wish movie, I believe this name is not Maleficent, Mr. Magnifico. And I saw that with my own personal kids, and it just kind of like, just take one look at him. You know, is over the top, voiced by Chris Pine. And I used a piece of paper to act like I was talking through a megaphone, and it was a hit. I'm Sorceress Magnifico. And a lot of the kids had seen it, so they could instantly relate. And the first trial, essentially, they had to get through was these spinning razor blades, and some kids were using magic, some kids were trying to dodge, and then as Valerian kept interrupting, one kid kind of got the hint that, oh, he's really powerful, and like our skills aren't really anything that's effective right now. And so they said, you have everything, you're so powerful, but if you're just waiting around for people to show up and go through your trial, like, you must be pretty bored. So are you looking for entertainment? And who am I to say no, right? As the DM. So yes, I am bored. Entertain me. And the shenanigans that ensued, kids were telling jokes, hidden talents. Some kid did this like 30-second karate routine because the kid's in karate. And so, yeah, there was like a entertainment threshold. And once he was entertained enough, they were able to move to the next room. So that's a lot of fun. These middle school kids, if you get them engaged, it's a good time. All right, so that is Hodge Podge numero uno. Number 2, got a very loose outline here. This new game that kind of just popped out of nowhere that I'm kind of all about. It's called Savage Flower Kingdom, a fantasy punk adventure game by Robertson Sonda Jr. The art style, loved it. It's only 8 pages. This might be best, well, it's free, but your best bang for your buck, pound for pound is probably better. Inch for inch role-playing game out there. It's pretty slick. So before I dive into the game, let's go to the website, which I've got lots of tabs. From I assume, group of people. This is very impressive if it's just one person. But experimentalplayground.blogspot.com. I'll put a link in the doobly-doo. But there are 3 or maybe 4 tabletop role-playing games on here. This is the download page. Let's go to the actual homepage. So it looks like it is recently-ish out of production, being abandoned. June 2021 is the last or newest post on here. And I've not explored everything on here. It goes all the way back to 2008. Well, definitely have to check this out. But what I really care about is the download page. And as far as I can tell, everything on here is free. So download our games. There's tons of board games. RPG Core Lara system. This one I didn't check out the Lara system, but I imagine it's the dice engine for these other games, which we'll get into. Then there's updates, these supplements. They have expansions. There's adventures and campaign source books. As far as I can tell, all for free. This is criminally unknown. So, going through the games here, there's Mutant and Machines, which if I have it pulled up, is this it? No, but that is another one. Here we go. Mutants and Machines, a gonzo post-apocalyptic RPG. So if I zoom in on the art here, it gets a little blurry, but gonzo post-apocalyptic seems like a pretty accurate explanation. Looking at this right here, you got some futuristic blaster, this Aeon Flux armor or lack thereof armor, what appears to be some sort of alien knight riding some sort of alien creature. Cool setting, mutants and machine guns. Very cool. We'll go to here. This one I downloaded. Sprawl, a cyberpunk RPG. 10 pages, and I cannot tell you how in-depth this is for 10 pages. And look at, the first page is the title. And then we have intro page. So I don't need to go into super details here, but the classes, how the game works, defense, there's leveling up. Here's probably, we'll go over this. Here's the base mechanic of this. It's a 2d6 system. 2d6, and then you can level up, or as you level up, you add numbers. So 2d6 plus 1, 2d6 plus 2, 3, 4, etc. And right here's the table. You can just give this right to your players. Roll 2d6, add them up, and you have to beat a TN, a target number. 5's very easy. Impossible is a 15. I like that difficult and impossible. If it's just 2d6, your characters know right off the bat, you mathematically cannot be successful. So they know that they have to power up. Well, assuming that they know the TN or the target number or difficulty number. But right in your face system. If you've listened to any of my previous podcasts, you know I'm not a fan of the rollover system, D20 system. However, I do like 2d6. I think it is less swingy. We know the bell curve. So that's great. Crits and fumbles. Here we get into some of the abilities. Classic cyberpunk psionics. The net rules. So I have a very cursory knowledge of the official cyberpunk RPG. Love the grittiness of the original. I'm not sure if it was Cyberpunk 2000. Used to own the book, sold it. For some reason, it was just way too crunchy for me. However, I know it was a simple system. The way it was worded, I'm not sure. It just didn't click with me. And when I didn't, how do I want to say it? Very excited. A lot of words hard coming out of my mouth. I don't understand when systems like keep you in a certain area. So, side tangent here. Cyberpunk had, I think it was called Night City, and you could certainly do a cyberpunk adventure anywhere in the world, but like basically you're an idiot if you do anything outside of the Night City. I know there was a whole like class of like motorcycle gang roamers, whatever, and then you would just like call them up, your family, and they would show up to Night City. Weird to me. And then I also bought Cyberpunk Red, and Cyberpunk Red was different in that your hacker class had to be closer to the battlefield. The original Cyberpunk, they could be like miles away using the internet. And I remember in something I read, like they could be on a room with like a dead man switch. So like they're hacking somebody, some major corporation, and if they get caught, like no one's going to go after them because they'll just blow up the whole building. So something like that. Anyways, wow. That might be my biggest side tangent of all time, because that really doesn't have anything to do with this other than they have a similar system of like a net runner where somebody can hack the internet or what do they say here? Upload their subconscious in order to access files that cannot be reached elsewhere. And basically it says here that they use their intellect rather than their physical, what do they have, meat body when attacking. And it kind of works like the Matrix. If you die in the net, your meat body also dies. Okay. Sprawl, a cyberpunk RPG. Cool. But let's get to... Oh yeah, here's the expansion. All right. Cool. I got the PDF right here. Make it full screen. Savage Flower Kingdom. Okay. Brief little introduction. How to create your hero. 4 stats. Physical, mental, combat, social. When I think of D&D, I mean constitution, wisdom, intelligence, strength, dexterity, and a mental one are all you really need. I understand the rest, flesh out other classes, rogues are dexterity, fighters are strength, wizards are intelligence. Well, then there's paladin, and they use charisma. Clerics, I think they use wisdom. So I understand why you have more skills, more attributes. But here, physical, mental, combat, and social. Now, combat probably could just be physical or mental, depending on the ability. But they must have, through testing, I assume, wanted to, just like D&D, they wanted to expand it out and not make every skill super relevant. But here are the classes. I should say here are the base classes, because there are expansions. There is an adventurer, can be thief, knight, barbarian, or warrior. And they start with 1d6 plus 12 HP, 8 character points, which you can then put in for these character stats. Each one needs, what does it say here? I think a minimum of 1 and a maximum of 3. Yeah, that would make sense. So if you have 8, 3, 6, Yeah, so 2, 4, 6, 8. So you could do 2 character points for each, and these are the numbers that you add. So +1, +2 to your dice roll. Adventurer, went over that one. There's wizard, dwarf, and an elf. I guess we'll go over wizards. They get to pick 3 spells. A dwarf gets the goblin rage skill, which I don't know what that does. And an elf, they get to pick 2 spells. Okay, well, why would I want 2 spells when I can get 3 spells with a wizard? Well, you get, let's see, MP. You get 2 less magic points, but you get 2 more hit points and, 1 less character point. An elf seems pretty nerfed to me. Here is the similar chart or table on how to do your actions. If an action is easy, you have to roll 7 or higher. That's 2d6 plus a number. All the way up to tough, 13. I say this now, if I were to run this, I would be super transparent with my players. I would probably even use the verbiage like, okay, a barrel is barreling down the road. It's filled with explosives. You need to dodge out of the way. But that seems like something pretty hard for your character to do. And then they just know, okay, he said hard, giggity. They have to roll 11 or higher. Let me see, is it that or higher? Let's get that right. All you need, creating your hero. Target number. Trying to get the target number or more to succeed. So there you go. 7 or more, 9 or more, 11 or more, 13 or more. Same thing I talked about for the Cyberpunk was critical hits and fumbles. Here are spells and like nothing more than you need. One thing that I really like about, haven't talked about this in a while, Bare Bones Fantasy, one of my favorite. Do you need pages and pages and pages of spells? Do you need an ice spell? Do you need a lightning spell? Do you need a fireball spell? Do you need a water spell? Do you need an acid spell? Many would argue, yes, for a full, long, in-depth game, absolutely. Which I say, kudos to you. Go for it. Now, there is a fireball spell and a lightning spell. But when we break it down, fireball has a target number of 9. So when you cast a spell, you have to roll under your roll your mental ability of a target number of 9 or higher. So if you are +3 in mental, roll your d6 and add 3. And if you don't, it says right here, if you fail, the MP is wasted. Sorry, you have a pool of points, spell fizzled, move along. Now, I like that and I don't like that. I like it in concept where, you want to cast this spell and then you waited a whole turn and you rolled and you failed at it. Oh man, there's 20 minutes, 25 minutes of you just not doing anything again. So that's a bummer. However, in D&D, they got to pass a wisdom saving throw, constitution saving throw. And, if your opponent, bad guy, creature, whatever, fail or passes their save, then it's the same concept. So rather than the onus being on the opponent or creature for causing a spell to fizzle, it's your own abilities. So just a different way of doing it. But going down the list, barrier, detect magic, ESP. These casters are able to read another's mind. Target must be present near the caster. Now, it doesn't say how long it goes for. So, somewhere, is it the last page here? Yes. Advice to the Game Master. This is a basic game with a lot of things to fill in. GM is free to create or remove rules, monsters, skills, spell, etc. Make it personal. The number one rule for any RPG is to have fun. So if you're thinking, okay, I cast ESP, how long does it last for? How long can I read the mind for? I don't know. Let's see. Do I have the character sheet? Sorry, I should have that up, but I don't. Downloads, character sheet. This is like the most basic character sheet. Physical, mental, XP, combat, social, left, hit points, magic points, skills. I'm trying to think if there was levels. I don't think there are levels. I think your skills just increase. So you could maybe argue, here's probably a way to do it. Oh, I did have it up. Shame on me. I would probably argue and say, okay, well, what's your plus stat? Is it +1? Is it +2? Is it +3? You get that many minutes for this spell. Would work for me. At least my initial thoughts of, yeah, that works. Okay, so the fireball, like I mentioned, it has, I don't think I compared it to lightning bolt. Fireball has a lower target number and it deals 1d6. Lightning bolt has a target number of 11. Still hits only one target, but this one deals 2d6. So you can have a spell that's more reliable, does less damage, less reliable, deals more damage. Okay. Levitate, power boost, and stone skin. You can certainly read all of these. If I zoom in, definitely make it easier for you. Yeah, sure. There's probably other spells you could do. So come up with them. You and your GM come up with a number for target number, what it does, and go for it. There's even room. There's even room right here. You could write your zone in. Okay. Then we have skills. This is interesting. Skills with this little mark, asterisk, not sure, can be picked twice. Twice means +2 to roll instead of +1, or you may make a second roll, or you may do this skill twice per scene. You indicate it like this, i.e. athlete 2, eagle eye 2. Much like spells, we'll go through some of these here. Athlete, +1 to all physical roll involving jumping, running, swimming, and climbing. Great. Berserker Rage, +1 to melee and attack roll. Great. Chef. This one's interesting. You are able to turn monsters into a lunchbox meal. At the end of combat, you may make a mental roll against a target number of 4 plus the monster's combat stats. If successful, you gain a lunchbox meal. You may only do this once at the end of combat. Can you think of another game that's got something like that? Super cool. Locksmith, +1 to all physical rolls involving lock picking and identifying locks. And Negotiator, +1 to any roll involving social interactions like negotiating, bargaining, flirting, etc. Very cool. Rules on how resting works, falling works, poison. Here's how combat works. We'll go over this one. Initiative is the order of who acts when in combat. To determine initiative, each combatant rolls 1d6, adding their physical score. The highest goes first. Any ties will act simultaneously. I feel like given the encounter, maybe you want to use a different stat or mix it up occasionally from physical score, but I get it. All right, attack. Attack a target with a weapon. Roll 2d6 and add combat to try and get an equal or higher number than the target's defense. And there's a very small bestiary in here, and so we'll talk about what a target's defense is. Magic, cast a spell. Pretty sure there's no defense stat for using magic. It's only you reaching the target number of the spell. Okay, you can move. Another action. This is for actions surrounding picking locks, reloading a bow, crossbow, opening a window, using an item, etc. And flee. To flee, combatant needs to make the physical roll against opponent with the highest defense. That's a cool mechanic. Yeah, sure, you can run away, but you got to be better than our best enemy. Right? One crucial thing I missed. When you turn arrive, typo, your turn, arrive, you pick one of the options below. Now, kind of a bummer because it's kind of a staple to be able to move and attack. Something that I'm trying to be better at my table is really making combat snappy. Now, that should be a goal of every GM, but it's really easy to let your players hem and haw. Well, can I? What's this go? And I'm not saying a player can't ask a question, but almost I feel like, hey, you got 20 seconds to tell me. And if you don't tell me in that 20 seconds, I'm going to put you at the bottom of the list. I'll come back to you once I go through everybody. And that's been helpful for me at my middle school table with 10 kids. What do you want to do? Give them time to think, give them time, give them time, give them time. Hey, I got 9 other kids I got to get through. Think about it and I'll circle back to you. And that's been working for me. So the point of this, if it's only one thing, you're not necessarily waiting that long for it to come back to you because it's a bunch of smaller actions. So kind of boring to say, I move closer, next person, then I attack, right? So that move, maybe on the round 1, you're allowed to move and get into position because at least I know in my combats, that's basically all you do. You move, you get into place, you fight, and you know the battlefield doesn't spread out. Maybe that's something I need to work on. So the rules state pick 1. Maybe you want to say pick 2 or go with the classic major action, minor action, movement, something like that. Okay. Equipment table. Now, I was listening to the latest, I think it just came out today, of the Matt Colville running the game, not running the game, is it designing the game, talking about his new role-playing game that's coming out. And he says that he does not like that certain weapons do certain damage. Like, he disagrees that a dagger should have a different impact of damage than a short sword or a long sword. And it got me thinking, like, yeah, I wouldn't want to get stabbed with a dagger. I wouldn't want to get hacked with a long sword. If I get stabbed with a dagger in my lung, like, I'm going to die. If I get a broadsword to my arm and my arm get cut off, I'm going to die. And so each weapon should have like an ability, which I think it was the Final Fantasy Omega Fantasy 2, which the weapons gave you different abilities, different more or less skills, which I think was my first taste of like, oh yeah, like the weapon should give you an ability or a skill during combat, not deal damage. But side tangent, here, traditionally, it defines your damage that you do. So let's see, let's compare these. Knife or a dagger, 1d6 -2, hand axe, club, light hammer, mace, 1d6. So, like, why in your right mind would you ever run a knife or a dagger if you're going to take that penalty? Given the chance, like, why would you not carry a broadsword and just carry a normal sword? This is 1d6 +1. Now, I'll admit, not a master at this. I just stumbled across this the other day. So maybe deep in the rules it says, nope, you need to have this limit in order to carry this weapon. But from what I can tell of this game, I don't think that's on here. Picking a class, creating a hero, minimum points, defense. Let's go back to weapons and see if it says it specifically. You start with 10 gold pieces, and then we go into monsters. So it seems like the biggest reason is the price. So a knife is only 3 gold. A stronger weapon is 5 gold. You can see these 2 items here that are 5 gold deal the same amount of damage. 8 gold deals more damage, which I can respect. That is classic video game logic of the more expensive something is, the more powerful it is, which, okay, I got it. Armor is damage reduction. That's great. Love to see that. Mundane items, arrows, rope, torch, lunchbox meal. Great. Okay, and then the last section is monsters. Very small bestiary. Monsters are defined by these stats: combat, ability, defense, hit points, and damage. Anything in brackets like this is the monster's skill. Here are some monsters. There is a blink cat, a giant centipede, a goblin cat, an orc, and a carnivore plant. What speaking of hodgepodge like this episode, what a hodgepodge of different monsters. That is wild to me. So let's break down, just looking at it, initial glance, the maybe easiest character. Combat 2, ability 1, defense 7, HP 8, damage club. Okay. If the damage is a club, we go up to the weapon, and a club is right here. It deals 1d6. All right. Combat 2. So when they roll, they have to roll to hit the player character's defense, and they add this number. In order for a player character to hit an orc, they have to roll a 7 or higher using their stats. HP is HP, and it says here a large cannon fodder. Awesome. And heavy hitter. This monster deals +1 damage. Okay, so it's 1d6 +1. Great basis for any other monster. The system seems light enough that I could easily make my favorite character a zombie. I would probably do combat 1, ability 1, defense 5 probably. HP I would probably max pretty high at 10, 13, 14. And when you look at these other ones here, 6, 7, 6, so 8 is already pretty high. But I would make a zombie a little higher. Their weapon would be unarmed, which is just 2. Maybe I would roll a d4. Well, actually, the whole system is d6s, so I probably wouldn't. Maybe d6 divided by 2. That might be more fair. And then, let's see, their ability, I would probably something where either if they hit a player will get infected, or they more aligned with like 5th edition. They have to get hit with a crit. Oh, this is probably what I would do. A critical hit instantly kills them. So like headshot. Or if they get knocked down, then they come back, roll a d6 for hit points, and then if they fall a second time, then they're dead. There we go. That's what I would do. So, very simple. How long did that take me? 90 seconds to come up with zombie stats? Perfect. And then we're at the end of the line. Advice to Game Masters. This came out in 2013, 10 years ago. What did I say it was? 8 pages. Take away the cover, we're at 7 pages. 7 pages for a role-playing game. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Easy rules, D6 easy rules, customization for your class, your skills. Let me search up the Goblin Rage skill. Goblin Rage. Whenever you are facing a creature related to goblins through name or physical appearance, you automatically get a +1 to your attack. So this must be like very classic fantasy, because what if you don't have goblins? But classic fantasy, goblins are the fodder. They are the baseline for any adventure. So cool. I would print this off. I will print this off. Give it to kids that want an easy system. My what did I call it? Super easy role-playing game system, which I've uploaded to Drive-Thru RPG. 2d6. Average roll is 2d6. If you're good at something, roll 3d6. If you're bad at something, roll 1d6. Player characters, they write down what they're good at. I would say that is easier, but there's no real progression. There's no bestiary. There's no magic system. And for me and my table of middle schoolers, if you remember, I've got King Anklebreaker. I've got actual Link from Zelda. I've got Minecraft Steve. I've got all... You can't put all that in a system. So, but if you're looking for a system with more traditional gameplay, we'll say, Savage Flower Kingdom in 7 pages of rules. Amazing. I'm just blabbering. I'm gushing over this amazing system. Artwork on here, great. Is that the only art on there? Sure is. But love it. Okay. I could literally talk till I'm blue in the face. It's so cool. All right. Next thing on here. I was going to do, and may still do, an expanded episode all on campaign settings. I think it is a rite of passage for any GM to come up with your own world. Talked about it before, but my first real foray into D&D as a dungeon master was a campaign that ran for 11 months, and I like to think through lots of learning, I was able to establish a pretty small but meaningful area. I had 2 towns. I had 2, functioning towns. Then I had a ruined city, and I had 4 mapped out areas where players could have side quests or just explore the world. So I don't know what that is. 7, 8 things that players could go to for a campaign. And I thought that was great. I came up with the towns. I filled the town with businesses and NPCs. This was before ChatGPT, which come on. Everybody needs to be using ChatGPT. It saves so much work. Don't be an elitist. Don't think you're better than it. Save yourself the time. If anything, I've said this before, use it as a baseline. Okay. Having said all of that, I think a GM should make their own world. There is a whole series based on Magic the Gathering. There is a whole series of campaign settings free available to you. I've already talked about Magic the Gathering. I forgot that these things exist. Magic the Gathering, Plane Shift, Dominaria, compatible with D&D, tabletop role-playing game. 24 pages of gorgeous art, 24 pages of lore, 24 pages of character classes, 24 pages of monsters, cities, towns, factions. Oh my god. These are freaking great. Okay. If you know nothing about Magic, it doesn't matter. If you do know Magic, great. Dominaria is where Magic all started, I don't know, 25 years ago. I forget the exact number of when it started. Now, this version of Dominaria, I think, is more modern, but let's just go through it. It is so cool. The domain, 7 Pillars of Benalia, Church of Sarah, Tolarian Academies, Merfolk of Vodalia, Bells and Locks Cabal, War Hosts of Keld, Elves of Llanowar. Now, some of you, those that know Magic, hopefully just, splooged a little bit. What? In your campaign, you can have the Elves of Llanowar? Maybe your players know what that means. If not, and you do, you will be excited to run that. Knowing that these elves are based on that lore, amazing. Church of Sarah, hello, your religion system right here. Tolarian Academies, come on. Wizarding schools, okay, I know, I'm excited. Came out in 2018. So many words on here. You think I'm reading all that? Not today. All right, the domains. Look at this map. It tells you the lore of the world. Here's Llanowar. Here's Bells and Locks Cabal. And are these bookmarked? They sure are. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah, I'm excited. You want a world map? Oh my god, here you go. Freaking free. Take it. Teleria West, Spice Isles, Ariona, Orveda. These are the fanniest fantasy names I've ever heard of in my entire life. Llanowar, Veruda, Shanodin. I don't even know what most of these are. I'm just looking at words and saying them out loud. That's how excited I am. Okay. 7 Pillars of Benalia. Benalia is a land of natural and architectural beauty. Vast fields of sun-kissed grain crisscrossed by meandering rivers and dotted with cities of white limestone towers and vivid stained glass. One would hardly guess that less than a century before, the great empire was fractured, its people scattered, and its shining capital city a salt-choked ruin. Yeah. You need descriptive text to read to your players? Yeah, read that. Frickin' hooked. Today, the 7 noble house of Benalia once again rule one of the most prosperous and powerful nations of Dominaria. The Benalish are keenly aware that their new Benalia is in its infancy, with 1,000 years of heroic ancestors and tales of bravery to live up to, but they are a diligent people and proud enough to consider themselves equal to the task. Now, this is definitely based on the new lore. If I'm going to just nerd out here for a second, the old history of Dominaria, very much Earth-like. And then these 2 brothers, Urza and Mishra, powerful artificers, powerful wizards, found this cave which had a portal to another dimension, Phyrexia. And these Phyrexians, in the simplest terms, are evil, and they love oil, any drop of oil, the Phyrexian Empire can spread. And so, big to-do back and forth, and then the brothers clash, and the world basically explodes into an ice age. Think of it as like nuclear fallout. It's not, but that's just the term I wanted to say. And so this is after it's recovered from that. Okay. Now, maybe in more depth they talk about that, but I don't think so. Okay. Here's where they explain, if you believe in this more or less faction, you should be a cleric, fighter, paladin, ranger, and it gives you reasons and justifications for why these classes would be in this area. All right, bonds. Oh, look at this race. Yeah, it's weird. Okay, I understand, but you could be an Aven with their own stats, their own traits. Let's keep going. I'm gonna just gush over this. Adventures, quests, villains. Look at that art. All right, the Church of Sarah. Gracefully curved towers float in a golden sky, so serene that not even gravity can touch them. Devout priests sing beautiful songs of veneration. Winged angels fly through the air on their way to bring gentle comfort to the needy and swift justice to the cruel. This is the Church of Sarah, a benevolent religion founded to honor the memory and example of its goddess. All right? Here's why you'd want to be a cleric for Sarah, a monk for Sarah, paladin for Sarah. Quests, adventures for this, amazing. Tolarian Academies. To the mages and scholars of the Tolarian Academies, magic is one science among many. Their books of lore contain eldritch runes as well as elaborate equations, and they employ complex constructs alongside enchanted golems. What happens to bronze if you transmute the tin it contains into iron after smelting? Does introducing an electrical charge enhance the scrying ability of a crystal ball? To the Tolarians, there's nothing strange or even interdisciplinary about these questions, even if the answers in either case could easily turn out to be, it explodes. All right, are you all about this? It gives suggested classes. Look at this. It's a freaking winged cat. Okay, more of the same. Adventurers, the sites, quests, probably already said that. Villains, a member of the Society of Mishra. There we go. Good thing I talked about it. Seeks to be transformed into a biomechanical demon of fused metal and flesh. 24 pages of amazing free resources. Merfolk. You want to be a merfolk? You sure can. You want to be a crab? A hominid? Sure can. Look at this stat block. It's possible. Bells and locks cabal. Right? Maybe you don't want a demon in your campaign running the underworld. Okay, well, he's not a demon, but take everything else about this. Look at that art. That's amazing. Cabal villains. Let's see. Do we get a stat block? No, we don't. Warriors of Keld. These are basically like barbarians. Great art. Let's see. Okay, is this all? There's the Llanowar elves. Freaking so cool. There's some stat blocks here which are amazing. Spiders. Hell yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure how you pronounce this. Kavu? I'm gonna say Kavu. Kavu Predator. That's freaking cool. Challenge rating of 2. That's it. Steel Leaf Kavu. Challenge rating of a 4. It's got somebody on there. Charging in the battle. Great. Kind of a weird end. It just ends on these stat blocks. But amazing resource, especially if you're a fan of Magic the Gathering. Super great read. Like right here, the domains. This is, if you're a Magic fan, just this one page alone is worth the read. Now, me personally, and why I want to expand and have an episode all on campaign settings, as cool as this is, I would love breakdowns of these specific areas. Like, give me a town. Give me all of the businesses in the town. Give me NPCs in the town. Give me something that I can just directly plop into my story. Or I'll just run exactly as is. I don't think there's enough information in here after reading all of this to just say, okay, players, we're in Dominaria, and we start here in the Forest of Llanowar. A GM's got to do more work to set this all up. But save yourself the time. So many things to pull in here. These random tables are great. Now, let me go back to Drive Through RPG, and if I just search, well, let's type with correct words, plane shift. Okay, Zendikar, amazing. Innistrad, let me actually, well, I don't want to search. I don't want to, but I'm going to, because it's like right there. Okay. So let me just go through a brief explanation of these as best as I can. Okay. Zendikar. Zendikar is a very land-focused world, which has these ginormous beasts. We'll say, for lack of a better word, titans. Titans that travel interdimensionally to Zendikar. That's great. Plane shift, Innistrad. Now, I wish this was older Innistrad. We'll get into it, but this is a gothic horror world. Amonkhet. This is like an Egyptian world. Ixalan, dinosaurs. Dominaria, just went over that. More Ixalan. Kaladesh, a world all about artificers and technology. And then, is that all we got? Ooh, I wish there was more. These are great. I would not be surprised if Wizards of the Coast did a handful of these and they did not see the popularity that they wanted. However, let me click Innistrad. What is the download rate on here? 178 ratings. That's pretty amazing. And I bet you it's also on DM's Guild, which I bet you it's the same number. So cross platforms, which is totally fine. And let's see, Dominaria I think was well over 100. 184. Yeah. Okay. So let's go over this one. The art is just amazing. All right, Innistrad. Introduction, way too many words, not reading all that. The world of Innistrad. On the plane of Innistrad, horrors stalk the shadows and scratch at doors in the night. Humanity is beset on all sides. Vampires thirst for human blood. Werewolves live for the thrill of the hunt. The restless spirits of the dead haunt the living, and no corpse is safe from reanimation at the hands of cruel necromancers or cunning scientists. Only their grim determination and their staunch faith in the protection of their patron Archangel Avacyn has allowed humans to survive in this nightmarish realm. This is great for a one-shot. Good for a full campaign. Great for a one-shot. You're humans, you're trapped in the city, and best of luck. You got vampires, werewolves. You hope Avacyn shows up. Maybe she's busy doing something else. The art on here is just amazing. All right, life on Innistrad. Like I said, you're going to want to read these. It's not necessarily just like plug and play. This is meant for research. For the word I'm looking for is inspiration. Really meant to inspire you. The Church of Avacyn. So cool. Inquisitor. I think, yeah. There are... is there more than that? I thought there was like skills and stats. You want to... Oh, this is just a background. That's why. Not like a class. So there's background on here. You want to be an Inquisitor. You're proficient in investigation and religion. Good with thieves' tools, artisan tools of your choice. Your equipment is a holy symbol, traveler's clothes, and a belt pouch containing 15 gold. This isn't anything groundbreaking, but if you know what an Inquisitor is, this totally makes sense that investigation and religion are your skill proficiencies. All about werewolves, and I think there are stat blocks for this one. Yep, right here. Challenge rating 3, werewolf, howl pack traits, how you can modify it, vampires, which coming up very soon here. If I remember, there's ghosts, or as they call them, geists, necromancers. Oh yeah, this art. I forget this is from an actual Magic card, but that is just amazing. Demons. Okay, somewhere in cults. Yeah. Cult of Madness. So great. But Strahd is... What is this? A sliver? No, it's a dragon. Dragons and worms. There we go. Somewhere soon here, Strahd is going to show up. Angels. Oh, yeah. Look at that freaking art. In this version of Innistrad, which they had an original version, I don't know, 10 years ago by this point, which was Gothic horror. And Avacyn was a major part of the story. And then she basically turns mad and turns on all the humans. Spoiler alert, sorry. Because of this person called Emrakul. And I think Emrakul, like, drives her mad. Yeah, Emrakul's mad, and I think drives Avacyn mad. I could read this, should read it. Oh, look how gross that is. Oh, is this a system here? Let's see. A creature or character whose sanity score is below 10 can begin to manifest signs of physical corruption, which progresses in stages. That's awesome. Now, there's a source book, I think called Ravenloft, which has a sanity system. So I'm not sure if this is the exact same or just something completely different, but sanity option. And here we go. Curse of Innistrad, and then they put Strahd in here, which is a little weird. Yeah, they have a... Here we go. Innistrad's ancient history speaks of a human alchemist and healer named Edgar Markov, who sought to preserve his own life and the lives of his family. Long story short, he turns into a vampire. But here is, Curse of Strahd right here. Kind of weird to put this picture and not a picture of Edgar Markov right there, which I'm not sure if he makes an appearance in here. Strahd von Zarevich, Streffen Mauer. The history of Streffen Mauer runs parallel to that of Strahd von Zarevich. After his father's death, I'll tell you right now, I don't care about that. At least right now. And we're getting near the end here. Even though if you've run Ravenloft or Curse of Strahd, you get it. If not, you are maybe confused as to why I'm poo-pooing that. Strahd is an iconic character, so take this for what it's worth for you. I would read this with skeptic eyes of, okay, well, how does this fit in with Curse of Strahd? But for somebody just totally new to it, heck yeah. The Village of Barovia, yeah. Read it. Ew, gross. Read it, take something from it, be inspired by it. Okay, lots of information. Sigarda comes and saves the day. Werewolf's dens. This seems kind of like a cluster of just random places. Yeah, okay, so where's like a title for this? Curse of Innistrad. So here, I'll say is a hodgepodge of places, people, and things, which is not done very well. So let's read this one. Village of Barovia, Shadow Grange. Little changes about this peaceful village as it is described in the Curse of Strahd adventure, except that the religious trappings found in the church use the iconography of the Church of Avacyn and the Archangel Sigarda. The holy symbol seen in the office is not a sunburst, but Avacyn's Y-shaped collar, looking slightly distorted because of the angel's madness. So yeah, so like, you'd have to like be cross-interested in Curse of Strahd and Innistrad, which is weird. Okay, is that all this is how you make changes? I bet you it is. The ruins, yeah, must be. An ancient crone here is dedicated to destroying the keepers of the feather, the witches that inhabit the Wizard of Wines. Von Richten's Tower, Rem Carroll's Tower. Yeah, okay, so this is a weird mix of like Curse of Strahd and Innistrad. Maybe some adventure hooks would help, but interesting. Yeah, you can use Mordenkainen as written in Curse of Strahd, or in a twisted nod to the storyline of Shadows over Innistrad, this mad planeswalking mage could be Jace Beleren. Create different lists of spells for Jace, focus on mind-altering and illusion magic. So do we have a stat block for Jace? No, we do not. So this last part is a little weird, a little wonky. Again, fourth time mentioning this, if you have a cross love for Curse of Strahd / Ravenloft and Magic the Gathering Innistrad. So that's a little weird, but the rest of it, very cool. If anything else, the art is phenomenal in here. Okay, so that's the Magic the Gathering, but I'll probably go into a longer episode on this, but I want to talk about it. Is it Greyloft? Oh, now I'm all Ravenloft. Greyhawk D&D. Check out this website. This has like historic precedence, and I'll admit that I don't fully understand. Oh, this is not what I want. Greyhawk Online is a fictional world designed as a campaign setting for the D&D fantasy RPG. Okay, although not the first campaign developed for Dungeons & Dragons, Dave Arneson's Blackmore campaign, predated by over a year, the world of Greyhawk, closely identified... Okay, yeah, okay. So there's Blackmore. If you don't know, I won't get into the history. There's a great documentary about, I think it's called Blackmore, which you should check out. And it kind of goes into the history of Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax. And I won't talk about how one of them was better than the other or whatever. But Greyhawk here. Let's do a Greyhawk. Spelling Greyhawk wrong. It's fine. D&D map. There's like a. Is this it? Yeah. Okay. This is it. Greyhawkonline.com. Now, in my expanded episode I'm going to do on campaign settings, we're going to check this out, but I'm in the mood to just briefly talk about it right now. Ooh. That zoomed way weird. So here's a map, which I can't click on things. However, let's go to Infinite Earths. And in here is tons of information. Okay, Greyhawk City. New Town, the Upper New Town, upper class. Moat Stream Canal runs along the New Town/Old City border. Between it and the Old City lies a thin strip of warehouses and shops. Possibly defines long trade. City of Hawks has it run north from across from the Beggars Quarter, south to across from the Thieves Quarter. Okay, well, what do these mean? Beggars Quarter, Beggars Union. There is, if you can see this little, I don't know what that's called, but this is a huge page of information. I don't necessarily want to spend the time going through all of this, but here is like literally a world of information here just for you. Greyhawk maps. There's a hex map I want somewhere. Resources. Greyhawk podcast. I might have to check that out. Mysterious places. Living Greyhawk. What is this? I don't even know. Oh, this is in the Wayback Machine. Okay, well, I'm gonna back out of this. This is getting more in depth than I wanted to. Let's see, the Great Flayness River. Come on, internet. Unwelcome guests. Here's a whole adventure that takes place in Greyhawk. Do I have to click this? Download unwelcome guests. Okay. So, I mean, if you were like starving for a world filled with towns, I assume NPCs, maps, this almost seems like more than you would want. But I want to share this resource, and I'll come back to it in my further length episode. Okay. Last thing, I haven't bought something this expensive, especially a PDF, in quite a while. But even though I did a whole episode on how I want to do an adventure about like the movie monsters, Alien, Predator, still think that is a super cool idea for my table. I'm also getting a really big itch to run a Diablo style campaign. Maybe that's wrong. Diablo style is probably inaccurate, but basically I want to go to hell. I want to deal with demons, and this was part of the inspiration, but this resource here is 290 pages. I bought it. Let's go to Drive-Thru RPG because I want to get the details right on this. Drive-Thru RPG. It's been one of their best-selling titles here for quite a while. Not a ton of reviews, 18, and I think that's because of this right here. Here's why, the only reason why I bought it, because I want a physical copy of it. And so print on demand is what that's called. But I was waiting, and I don't think this was here right away when it first got uploaded. But then they added it, which basically said, hey, buy the PDF and we'll give you a discount on the book. Okay. I hope it's like a full $30 discount. I'm not sure. And then I don't really know what this is. I used to know, but it's a fundraiser. All proceeds go directly to Extra Life, a fundraising program of the Children Miracle Network Hospital that helps children receive crucial medical care. Okay. I don't know the details of it. Don't care to research, the history, maybe, blah, whatever. It's 2023. You can't do anything right. But it was a fundraiser, had good reviews, and I want to check what hell is all about. In the Monster Manual, or maybe it was a Dungeon Master's Guide, one of the two, I was reading about the 9 layers of hell, and I knew that Asmodeus ruled it, but I'm almost positive they didn't give a stat block. And I was like, what are we doing here? If you're going to get me excited, like, I need to know the ruler of hell's stats. And so 290 pages, not going to go through the whole gist of it, but basically, in order to get your players in here, Asmodeus has a big scheme where he either has your players' souls or he has the souls of characters' loved ones. And you have to go through this trial, I think, go through all the steps, go through all 9 layers of hell to get to Asmodeus. And if I can find the actual quote, let's see. I want to find it. Straight up tells you how the adventure can end, which it gives a couple choices. Oh, I think that was it. Let's see. These killers. Okay, yeah. So the players are tempted. So basically, Asmodeus is tricking people to help him. Basically, they're saying, like, people come to Asmodeus and say, help me. And he says, sure. But if you die, then I get your soul. So Asmodeus helps them out. And then in order to get their soul, he basically sends killers out to kill people and he gets their souls. Okay, let's see. Basically, the players saving souls. I want to get it right. No, I won't. I won't find it. But basically, the players meet Asmodeus at the end, and they have to bargain with him. They either have to have things that they found, they have to be powerful enough, have a gift for him, something along those lines. And if the players don't give him anything that he needs or he cares about, then you go into battle and you fight with them. So they go through all the different levels. There's so many stat blocks. I think there's a stat block for all 9 rulers. You go through the river Styx. Pretty good maps. I can't remember if the download. Let's pull this up to show you what you get. Am I logged in? No, I'm not. Okay, there we go. Log in. Let's go to my library. Okay, so you get the adventure and battle maps. That's what you get. I don't know how many maps are in there. Don't care to download it. But, oh, there's Asmodeus. There he is. No pain, no gain. This is in spreads. Oh, this art. When I came across this page, I was like, "Is this a real picture? Like, did somebody go down into hell, take a picture, and escape?" But there's like a warship that travels on the river Styx that you have to avoid. Great art. All right, I'm pretty sure his stat block is near the end here. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, infernal magic items. That's great. Maps. Okay, I went too far. War Devil. Oh, this thing was freaking super cool. Greater Tyrant Shadow. Looks like Venom and a dinosaur. Dragons. Yeah. This was giving me Diablo vibes for sure. Oh yeah. Displacer Fiend. Alright, where's Asmodeus's stats? Zariel Bell. Mephistopheles. Levistavus. I don't think that was right. There we go. Asmodeus's stat block. Now, I want this not to show you all of his abilities, but, take it if you want. Challenge 30. This is a high-level adventure. I'm pretty sure it takes place... Oh, yeah. Freaking so cool. I think it takes place after Descent into Avernus, which I think is levels 1 through 10. And this is 11 through 20. Now, I've never run... I guess I lost mine of Phandelver I ran. My thoughts, my feelings change on, is it railroady to have a whole adventure pre-mapped out? To get my Diablo 2 vibes? Are there portals that can go back and forth? Are demons going into the regular world? Is it an adventure just all in hell? Not sure. Not sure how I want to use this for me at my table, but in reading through this, I thought, you know what? Imagine you sit down at the table, your DM says, all right, let's roll up characters. Okay, however long that takes, half hour, hour, got your characters. Okay, great. You wake up one day. Your souls have been taken. Well, I feel fine. This grotesque, horned, fiery-eyed figure stands in front of you. I don't have a voice for Asmodeus right now, but this creature speaks. I have what you want. I'm trying to think of something cool on the spot. Hi, my name's Asmodeus. I'm the ruler of the Nine Hells. Come get what you want. Or be trapped forever. Something lame like that. And then blah, blah, blah. I just totally killed the mood. But the end of the session, your players walk away. Oh my God, we're in hell? We have to get through all 9 layers of hell. That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing. Am I going to run this for my middle schoolers? No. That is not their jam. Right? They're more high fantasy. Not that this isn't high fantasy, but they're more, surface level. But yeah, more for my players, I think. Hell yeah. They're going to be spending the next year of their life in hell, traveling on the river Styx, meeting all these demons. That sounds freaking amazing to me. All right. How am I doing on time? Please be an hour. That's my goal. Little over an hour. Perfect. All right. Well, that's me talking about what I'm into right now. Hopefully you take some of this, take it back to your table, make your game even better. Keep being creative. One of these days I'll come up with a closing tagline. Until then, I'll just ramble. So, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next episode. Later.